Hey guys, it's Maria.
This is Tim.
Today is Sunday, July the 1st, 2018. Welcome to our weekly recap.
Right before we get started, go ahead and give us Friday's closing numbers.
Sure, the Dow was up 55 points and closed at 24,271. Nasdaq was up 6 points and closed at 7510. And the S&P 500 was up 2 points and closed at 2718.
Yeah, I probably got, and this is probably an underestimation, but I got at least 100 texts and DMs between Friday's close and today saying, oh my God, Friday's close, it sucked. Is it bullish or bearish? What's going to happen next week? And my answer was the same this Sunday as it was last Sunday. My only prediction about tomorrow is the stock market will open. Whether it opens green or red, I don't know, but I do predict that tomorrow we will be open. So I wanted to get that weekly prediction out of the way and remind everybody that we will be closed 4th of July, Wednesday. I know it sounds crazy that we're announcing that on the webinar, but you have people from all over the world trading in the United States market. And we have people from all over the world to listen to this webinar. We are closed Wednesday. So for the 4th of July, not all markets around the world are closed that day. So that's where it gets confusing. So we will be closed. Maria, let's go ahead. We've been saying forever we had one stock under $5. That was our favorite stock, TRXC. Back under 5, but we're going to not give it that stereotype anymore. We're just going to go ahead and put it in the same club as Amy and say we have two stocks under 10. So let's go ahead and look at TRXC just to get started.
Yep, here's a yearly on TRXC. We hit a high of 604. That was a gorgeous run. And we are now down. It closed on Friday at 436. I still like it. We've got a little bit of support right around that $4 level. That's where I really would like to see this bounce or turn around at. I am still holding calls, Tim. We are still holding calls, and I believe that you still have shares, right?
Yeah, I do. And I've seen people get mad about this, because there were several guys, because, we teach all the time. Anytime you see that Roman candle, that firework goes, it starts coming back down to earth. So a lot of people that I know of, sold between $5.50 and $6 and have bought back. And there's people that got mad at them. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you sold. Listen, they were buying at $1.85, $1.50, $2. Stock went to $6. You're at a triple. Why would you not sell some, get your original investment back? And you can always buy back in if it dips. If it keeps going, you're riding for free. But I've seen a lot of people get bashed for that. It was really like, I have to ask those people that were bashing the people that sold in the 550 to 6 range, how long y'all been trading? These people are catching doubles and triples. If they're not taking something off the table and looking to buy at a better price, then they're just as fucked up as the people bashing them. So there's nothing wrong with taking some profits, people. But yes, me and Maria are still holding calls, still have some common shares. We've been in this thing since October of last year. We'll probably be in this thing October of next year. So that's just how we feel about it. We will trade the stock. Obviously, we will always love the stock. It's the first one we wrote about in the newsletter. AMRS, we've been trading way longer than TRXC. I mean, Amy, we were in pre-reverse split, got out on that reverse split when it did the 20-to-1 and didn't hold the dollar, or I think it was 20-to-1. I just remember we held, we got in the 60s. It had to hold a dollar for 10 days. It did do that, had an ER, sold off. We were out in that $1.10 range. Then we got back in after everything started looking good in Amy's. Back in above $5, still in Amy, still have calls for September. Go ahead and pull up AMRS chart. Amy holds really, really well around that $5 mark. And that's what is that, a yearly on Amy?
Yep, that's a yearly on Amy. Nice cup and handle forming there, or mostly formed there. So I kind of like what it's doing. It looks like we're sitting on support. I've got a little bit of support around between 630 and 640-ish. So it kind of looks like we're holding there. I still like what it's doing.
I like what it's doing. If it crosses 7, in my opinion, it will go ahead and test the 52-week high. And if we break it, just like on TRXC, when TRXC broke $5, that wall came tumbling down. And even if you wasn't a bull on TRXC and you didn't play that breakout, once it cracked 5, just as a trader, and we probably told hundreds of people that week, you've got to play your 52-week breaks. TRXC was a great example. And again, we are still bulls in TRXC. We are still holding options and common stock. Same with AMRS. But I have to look at this thing from, a neutral standpoint when I'm doing here. And again, just because somebody sold something at $6 and maybe they buy it back at $4.50 doesn't make them a bear or an asshole. It just makes them a smart trader. But Amy, same thing. Right. It could easily cross 7 and then hit that 52-week high. And if it does, it's going to probably run. Amy's got a big fan club out there. Regardless of what it does, it could run to 10. We'll probably sell some. If it dips, we'll buy it back. We'll still probably have some of the original position. That's fine. That's how we do things. And there's nothing wrong with that. So Amy, I do want people watching that. They got an upgrade last week. I can't remember who upgraded them. It's like they got upgraded to 12.
Look and see.
And it's about time. I mean, Amy has done the right things. The company really used to get on my nerves with some of their funding. It does appear like they're doesn't trade like the old Amy.
They reiterated their buy rating and gave them a $15 price target. And the analyst said that he believes the joint venture with Chinese genomics company BGI will further expand Amy's international reach and will help Amy enter into the multi-billion-dollar Chinese medicine market. So definitely some good things coming up for Amy.
So keep an eye on that one. TRXC are only stocks under 10. Now, as far as trading, there was a lot this week to trade. Those are our only two stocks that we invested in under $2. There's a lot that's tradable out there, obviously. And not that there's not some other good companies out there, but I don't have time to go research every stock under $10 and try to find that hidden gem. I'm sure there are other ones out there. Again, not trying to bash any stocks under $10. It's just one of those things that we're more options players. Go ahead, Maria, and pull up Black Box, just for example of low floats last week. GBR, my God. Friday, what a run. I don't know if that had news or not. We'll go ahead and look at that. That's 100-something% gainer. What was that, 137%?
I believe it was 130-something%, if I remember. Actually, 137.8%.
Yeah, and at the peak, it was more than that.
Yeah, we alerted it at $1.80. It ran to 475, and I believe it closed around 4 something.
Yeah, it closed at 428, looks like. But it was that way all week. PED, XBIO, CEI. We had one 500% gainer the other day. We alerted at 41 cents. After hours that day, it hit like $2 and change. Just a crazy week with low floaters, especially in the energy side. So will that continue this week? I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, there was just a crazy week with CEI and some of these. I don't like to get caught up in these. These to us are you get in the mornings, you try to get out, sometime find an exit and just be lucky that you did and move on. That's how we do it anyway. So yeah, GBR, XBIO, PD, CEI, great week on some of those companies. Great week, especially for trading. Did GBR have some news, Maria, or was that just?
Let's see. So GBR, no, there was no news on that one.
Yeah, same with most of these actually. Tesla, I believe Tesla's got some news. Didn't we get a tweet from Elon?
It was actually, so Tesla was scheduled to, or not scheduled, Tesla needed to meet their production numbers by Saturday evening. And let me see if we have anything on it on the news side. But long story short, they meet the production numbers of 5,000. They were a little bit late, a couple hours late, it looks like. They were trying to meet that 5,000 cars per week deadline or number target by the end of second quarter, which was Saturday evening, and they hit it Sunday morning. I'm still okay with that. I think that's still fine. So it will be interesting to see what Tesla does. It has been hanging out for, between 340 and 360 for a couple of days. Definitely has a lot of range. I'm not swinging any calls. Initially, I intended on swinging some calls over the weekend, but Friday I decided I didn't really want to swing anything, or any new positions. I didn't want to open up anything as a new swing.
Right. Several did swing that, and got my fingers crossed for them. To me, it wasn't worth the risk. I'd had to swing next week's calls, or I guess I could have went out to the 20th, but those were so expensive. I didn't want to buy next week's calls. With Wednesday, it's just a decay day. We're not open. So it was just fine. The news were supposed to be out. At one point, we heard sometime between last week and Wednesday afternoon. Not sure if that was still true or not, but I didn't want him to announce Wednesday and me have to hold through that too. So to me, I can buy after the news and still be fine. There's plenty of money to be made after the news. To me, it wasn't worth the risk. We do have several people swinging that. Definitely have my fingers crossed. We get asked a lot, and I guess we get asked every day, what do you look for in flow? What is the perfect flow for you guys? And really perfect flow could mean a big purchase as the stock's going down. It can mean consistent flow. APTV. Maria, let's go ahead and pull that up. Somebody in the room, and that's where we have, I'm just thankful for the thousands of eyes that we have, because everybody's looking at something different. And if I miss some flow and Maria misses some flow, somebody's always there to catch it. So I have no idea what we were watching. I think we were trading Amazon at the time, and which we'll get to in a minute. And somebody says, hey, a couple above the ask APTBs come out. So we pull it up, we look at it, and we're like, wow, first one's at 95 cents. That one wasn't on the bid or ask, but you can see the second one, $1.02. above the ask. Not real big sweeps. Then there comes a third one, and it's $1.14. Now we've got our attention here. So we all got in $1.25. We didn't throw a ton of money in it. I think our average was $1.25 all said and done. But that kept coming through. And you can see it started at 117, went on through 131. And not just big order flow, but something that we don't see every day. I've never seen APTV. I didn't even know what APTV was when we bought this Friday. I
Right.
don't know if I really still know what APTV was, even though we bought it Friday. But it was good, clean flow. And Friday's flow was some shit, so it caught our attention. It was like, wow, okay. Actually, a lot of last week's flow was some shit. There were some nuggets here and there. But this is, again, contracts moving up, ask or above ask side, continuous sweeps. I don't like to see it in the middle. I don't like to see it below the bid. And you'll see people getting excited sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, there was 15 sweeps that just came through, and you go look and they're like, dude, they're all in the middle and the contracts are going down. So this was good flow. Contracts moving up above the ask. So we knew that everything was ask side, even if it wasn't, if it didn't have an A or an AA, you could see the contracts moving up every time it came through. That tells you it's at least ask side. So again, APTV, bought a couple of contracts of that, probably, I don't know, 100 of us or so when this came through. This is kind of late Friday. So we are in that one, but that's an example of good flow. So I wanted to get that out there real quick. Last week also, Maria, we talked about buying this week. They were tariff sensitive, Boeing, Cat, and John Deere. This was on last Sunday's webinar. And we said that this was going to be risky because these are sensitive. So Thursday around lunch, or a little before lunch, probably mid-morning, we started buying Cat, John Deere, and Boeing. And we hope, knock on wood, that we caught these things. Now, we didn't buy Boeing. Several people in the room did. Maria was right. She said, I don't want us holding 3 tariff-sensitive stocks. And so we did buy 2. She was very right in that. So we did not buy Boeing. Some bought Boeing and Cat. Some bought Boeing and Deere. Some bought Cat and Deere like we did. So we did all get in those Thursday, fingers crossed. Friday, those looked very good, especially all the way up through lunch. It looked like we were just heroes, which, we're not, but they looked like, oh my God, you guys are geniuses. It was probably pretty good, just luck, because Thursday morning when we started seeing them all turn and everything, and they all turned pretty much at the same time and bottomed pretty much at the same time. This had been on our list all week, so we may not look like geniuses Monday morning by any means. We could look like the stupidest people out there, which is why I never like to look genius or stupid. I just like to be a guy that makes trades because, you're only as good as your last trade. So those things, people are holding them. They're like, oh my God, you rock. Then they're down in them. Oh my God, you suck. It changes quick, and guys and gals, we all have bad trades, bad weeks, bad days. I do. Maria does. Everybody does. Anybody that's trading and tells you they don't have bad trades is lying to you. Because we had a couple bad trades last week that actually I'm still holding, and I should have had better stops under these, but I'll explain why I'm holding them here in a few minutes. So, we all have bad trades. These are good trades as of Friday at lunch. They were okay trades Friday at the close. Monday, they could be great trades or bad trades. But we did pick up we picked up Cat and John Deere. Others picked up Boeing and Cat or Boeing and Deere.
Really quickly, sorry, before you go on, just to quickly go over the charts on Boeing. We talked last week about the support area between roughly 318.50 and 322. You can see it did bounce higher than that. I really like that. I am still eyeing an entry here. I don't think it's too late to jump in. But again, my only hesitance is the fact, or the only reason I'm hesitating is because we are holding 2 other tariff-sensitive stocks. So if you do plan on buying Boeing, just understand that it might be a little bit choppy. Cat, here's a 1 year on Cat, and I really like where this bounced. You see this low on this candle over here on the right-hand side? That was roughly 132.47, 132.50. That has filled the gap from back in October. There was a small gap up. I think that was earnings related. Yes, it was. And that gap is now filled. The next candle opened up higher. So definitely keeping an eye on that. A little bit of resistance around 138.60 to 138.70-ish, give or take a few pennies. So Cat is still in a good area, I think, as long as it holds its level. Again, very tariff sensitive. And then John Deere. Here's your chart on Deere. You can see we talked again last week about it. We had support at roughly 134, 135. It did bounce above that. So, and we are holding Deere. So
Pull
definitely
up
keep
the
an eye on it.
weeklies. I want to show the weeklies on these 3.
So this is deer on the weekly. So Tim told us to buy it right off the bottom on both cat and deer. So this is deer,
We got
and
in
then
these
we have
Thursday
here's cat. So both at lows of the week.
and
Awesome cows,
Boeing.
Tim. Oh, Boeing.
Well, we'll
Forgot. My bad.
see. We'll see. We hadn't sold yet. Again, everybody may hate me Monday, right? But all
No.
three had the same patterns. And when we started we were watching all three. So this wasn't like it was real smart or anything. We're watching all three. All three started, they tanked together, turned together. When we got that turn, we're like, you know what? This could be. These were at least the lows of the week. This may be the lows we've been looking for. We took small shots, nothing big, guys. It ain't like we threw $20,000 at each one of these. We did a couple contracts. So yeah, on the weeklies, these still look good, but we'll see how we open Monday, right?
I agree.
Maria, also Facebook. That's one of the trades that we got in this week on the 200s. Sold the first round. I believe we got them. I can't believe it's Monday and sold Tuesday, or bottom Tuesday, sold Wednesday. But we got out of those, the 200s, and I forget what it was it was Wednesday. I think we bought Tuesday, or maybe we bought Monday, had a good run on them. Got out Wednesday because the market started feeling very heavy to me. I'll never forget that because you actually had to tell me to calm down, which you did, and thank you. So we had bought it 4 to 410. Some in the room had got in as low as 350 because we had bought a little higher and it kept going down. And Mr. McDuggins was like, "Oh man, I filled at 350," and so he was laughing at me because he got such a better entry, and it was a great job. Well, turns around, this thing goes up to almost 580. We got out in the fives. I think everybody got out in the fives that day. So it comes back down to 410 again. Smart ass me. I go right back in and buy again. McDuggins buys at 350 again for the second time and gets to make fun of me. Him and several more got in at 350. The problem is Friday Facebook looked like shit. And this is one of those examples of you go from hero to zero real quick. So we had got back in this thing on, I guess it was probably Thursday, probably more toward those highs, and then it just sold off all day on us Friday.
So here's the thing
So
I do want to. It does not look very pretty. Friday was not a pretty day. However, it closed above the weekly low. Low for the week was 193.11, and we closed at 194.32. So I've got support in between that low 193.11 and roughly, let's say 193.30-ish, give or take. So we're still sitting above support. I do want to see Facebook turn back around. So what you're looking at is the 5-day. Let's go to the 1 year. Here's your 1 year. So at 193.21. Here is that line, this purple line. If it were to bounce off of there, it might not be a bad entry. But again, keep an eye on it. I think there was a downgrade, wasn't there? Or something happened on Friday.
There was, but there was a downgrade. But I mean, yeah, there was a downgrade, and something about possible leaks and something. I don't remember. They were talking about it in the chat room. But if it does break that 193.11 last week's low, I do plan to punt. The reason we own Facebook, but you can see on these dots and circles, we've been playing Facebook forever and killing it. We always buy Facebook 30 days before ER. And generally speaking, all but one quarter, which was last quarter, every quarter it sets 4 to 5 all-time highs before ER in that 30-day period. Now, we had that Cambridge Analytics last quarter, which provided, the buys possibly a lifetime in Facebook if you missed, years ago. It provided some killer buys and went right back to all-time highs off of that. So that was the only quarter that Facebook didn't set all-time highs, 4 to 5 in that 30-day period. So we usually buy 30 days out, which we did again in this situation, hoping to catch 4 or 5 all-time highs. We'll see. If it gets under 193.11, I will cut it and look to rebuy. So that is our Facebook strategy on that. Again, that's one of those trades where I wish I had it back and would have bought 3 hours later, right? Or a day later. But you can't get them back. So it is what it is. Amazon, though, Maria, we got to kill live. And by live, I mean we're talking this thing in through play-by-play Thursday and Friday. Caught some really good runs. We played 1700s both days, actually. We played 1700s when it was under 1700 on Thursday, killed it. 1700s while it was above 1700 on Friday. We went out of the money on Thursday, in the money on Friday. So we did get to trade those live with everybody and take care of Facebook losses or anything else. But it's Amazon. I want to see the 1700, which is all around right now. 17 is still key, which closed barely under on Friday, it looks like.
Yeah,
but
it closed just a little under 1700. but I still like it.
Right. I still like it. You got Prime Day, I think the 16th. Normally it sells off after Prime. You do have ER right after Prime as well, but usually run up to Prime, sell off after Prime or at Prime. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I'm sure we'll be playing this one again all week. Again, 1700s is what I'm watching. Mainly, just I want to get above that and start rocking on and trucking on. So Friday we did have a lot of rebalancing and stuff. Generally, start of the quarter you should get some buying next week. Historically, people can say July slow month. It is, but it's still, first of the quarter you should get some buying.
Right.
Kelly did send me a note that said something about some bank outflows, so I would, keep that in mind. But regardless, historically, this is a good week for the market historically. So we did get to play that one a couple times. Maria, what do you got on the list here that you want to go over to?
Well, let's look at Google while we're looking at Amazon. So
I agree.
Google, not this past week, the week prior, let me go out 10 days. We hit a high of 1201 and change, I believe. 1201.49, definitely off that high. Actually, gave back almost $100. We did catch a couple of shorts through there, which was nice. And on Friday, we closed at 1129.19. Let me go out to a year. Oops, not a minute, a year is what I meant. Here's your yearly. You can see that we bounced off that 1104, 1105, which is where we had support, a little bit of resistance around 1150. And, I kind of like where it's bouncing. So Google, I may look to take a small starter position in tomorrow. Let's see what happens. I think that we've had a little bit of a pull. If we look at the Qs, we've had a little bit of a pull, not as much of a pull as I wanted to have or wanted to see in the Qs, but off of that high. So the high was 177.98 on the Qs. Definitely saw a little bit of a pull back to support at 169.30. Well, a little under 169-ish. 169, 169.30-ish, starting to bounce up. So with tech in general, I would think that we could potentially see a little bit of movement upward. So keep an eye on your tech names. Google, I do still like.
I agree with you on Google. Maria, AMD, go ahead and hit that one. So,
Yeah, let's
which
look at
we
it.
are still holding January 17th. We do
Yes,
still
yes, we
own.
are. We do still own those. And I love where AMD is kind of sitting right here, right around 15, close at 14.99 on Friday. We did flash under, we flashed down a couple times, but I still like where it's at. I don't think that, I still think that, well, how do I want to say this? I still think that there's room for AMD to move back up. So we are still in calls and looking to see if we can maybe get back above this 1575 at some point soon.
And they've been shooting some shots out there too. AMD is not known for being a cocky, arrogant company, but they're really taking some shots out there lately. I think they got a lot going on for them. I like this. Lisa Sue coming into her own here.
Yeah,
I'm an AMD bull. Can't help it.
I am too.
But talking about AMD, the chips got beat up. Nvidia. I know you finally got out of your Nvidia that you're holding once it broke 250.
I
You got
know.
all these. Shaking my head, SMH, the chip sector, and which had a
There was
lot
a
of
really
people
big bet
shaking
on
their head
that,
this week.
right? There was
Really
a
big
really
bet.
big bearish bet on SMH. I don't remember exactly when that was, but it was within the last week or so. There was a pretty big bearish bet. You can see that those are pulling, they pulled back. But again, similar to the rest of tech, we saw a little bit of support right around on SMH around that 100, 101, 101. I'm sorry, 150 to 101-ish, and a little bit of movement back up. So I'm actually really curious to see what they do. MU, I picked up a couple of contracts that are currently red, just a little bit red. I picked those up last week. I may add to it or if it were to drop down to 50, otherwise I'm just going to keep the position as is. So definitely keeping an eye on MU. NVIDIA, I did end up cutting and I actually let it ride down to about 245. So at 245, I cut and I am looking to replace those with probably some August 240. So definitely keeping an eye on NVIDIA as well. Keep an eye on my watch list and you'll see which one I decide to pick up.
One thing that was positive though, LRCX and AMAT finally look like they're starting to turn. Some of the more boring in that area are starting to turn a little bit or stabilize a little bit. It looks like the
And I
MUs, the
love
high flyer ones.
Yep.
Yeah, I love LRCX too. One of my favorite companies. We have killed that off flow. That is one when you see flow on LRCX, we just buy it. It's and I'm not suggesting you do that. Me and Maria have kind of crazy paying thresholds, but when we see the right flow, we just auto buy it. And I mean, I've seen some suicides that I've followed, and it's insane. So yeah, some of those starting to kind of level out maybe. So we'll see. Maria, you had some pot stocks you had mentioned to me earlier today as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at MJ, which is that pot ETF. So a little bit of movement up. There was news that came out this morning. So the news was that Massachusetts and Vermont have legalized recreational use. So we'll be keeping an eye on
Yay.
Cron, CGC as well. Both charts look pretty good actually. Here's Cron, actually right off of support. So Cron's definitely one to keep an eye on. CGC, oops, CGC, nice pull off that high. So those two and MJ, definitely going to keep an eye on those.
Nice. Well, congratulations, Massachusetts and Vermont.
Yeah.
Maria, you also mentioned to me earlier about Apple, and I have not looked at the chart on that, but you had just,
So
yes, me
let's
and
look at
Maria talk stocks
Apple.
every single day.
So Apple hit a high. I'm on a 1 year, I believe. Yep, this is a 1 year chart. We hit a 52, 194.20, and it pulled back off of that into the 180s, currently at 185.11. I kind of like this as an entry point. I'm not ready to buy it just yet. I want to see a little bit of momentum come in to the upside before jumping in, but I am keeping a really close eye on Apple.
I may take a shot if it's still in that 185 area. I may take a shot on some ER apples. Nothing crazy, but at 185, I kind of like it. Going into ER, unless it starts selling off, then I might have to look for a reposition on that. But 185, I had missed it a couple times, and this may be my entry, but we'll see. I'm with you. I agree that definitely needs an eye on it.
So the other thing to keep an eye on this week, guys, there's been, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've probably gotten about 5 DMs about Wynn, WYNN, the casino. I had a bunch of people asking if they should buy Wynn because obviously it looks really, really good. And I'm going to say give it a day or two. I know that Macau numbers are coming out this week, and actually, I'm reading right now that for the month of June, Macau gross gaming revenue increased 12.1%, but fell short of the consensus estimate for an increase of 18.5%. The article does say that strong interest in the World Cup is believed to have cut into casino traffic. So could it still be a good area to pick it up? It could be. Just keep an eye on it. Wait till we see a little bit more convincing flow. I think we have seen some flow come in on Win, especially. It's just not enough. It's not clean enough for me to say, you know what, go ahead and buy it. Again, I'm not saying that it's not a trade that couldn't work out. It definitely could. I just want to see a little bit more conviction in the flow before I jump into that one.
And Wynn has always shown, pretty good flow that you get movements, after. So I don't think it's really failed to show that one or two big buys where you're going, okay, they're back. You can usually follow. I haven't seen that either. I agree with you.
Exactly.
But not that it won't work. I mean, it looked like a good support line across there around that 160.
It's actually right above
Go ahead and put
160, so
that.
about 162 roughly. I'll drop a line there so that we can remember it, and we'll revisit it. So extend. So 162 and a penny, or 162-ish, is roughly where I have that support area. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. Again, just like Tim said, I'm waiting for them to come in and actually start buying it up.
I might have took a shot there. I didn't realize it was this low. I might have took a shot looking at that chart, just a small shot, couple contracts,
Right.
right, just slightly out of the money. I didn't realize it had got that low. But yeah, I'm with you. Normally you do see some pretty good flow with Win, unless I missed something, which is possible.
No, you're good. You're good.
And
I'm waiting for it.
Visa this week, we did buy Visa one day at barely over 130. I think it was Monday, and got to sell it around 133. Did really nice on those contracts, and it fell right back down to the 130 area. And I missed it that second time. Some other people did catch it back up and play that. I know MasterCard was one you were looking at also.
Absolutely. And really quickly before we go away from Win, Tim's absolutely correct. Look at this 129-ish area, 129 actually. Let's say 129.50 is the most recent, and extend that to the left. You will see that, that is definitely an area of support where it flashed down to. And currently it's at 132.45.
She means Visa, not Win.
Oops. Did I say Win? Sorry, guys. I meant Visa.
Sorry.
135 to 136, 52-week high. Is this an all-time high for them too?
It is. It's all-time.
Oh, okay. So between 135 and that all-time high, there is a bunch of congestion. Not this past week, the week prior, we were hitting that 135 constantly. It was 135 and change, and then back down. 135, back down. A lot of back and forth in between that 135, 136-ish area. It did pop that 52 or that all-time high. Sold off after that. We did pick it back up. So we're watching that one closely. And while we're talking about Visa, Tim said MasterCard. MasterCard, I am still in. I'm still holding. I have July 195 calls, which I probably need to sell like ASAP. So I will be getting out of those and probably replacing them. There was a positive Barron's mention on MasterCard, EA, and Verizon. So Barron's says that these are balance sheet winners. They have plenty of cash flow and low debt levels that offer buffers to rising interest rates and volatility. If you're looking for a play that might be able to sustain some of the volatility and maybe not lose, or not be as volatile, keep an eye on MasterCard, EA. Here's your chart, and Verizon. Here's your chart.
That's good info.
Yeah, and I think that's all that I have for everyone this week. We will, last week, guys. So here's the thing. Last week ended, and I know at least with the people I've talked to, everyone's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Everyone was like, I don't, no one understood what happened because we were expecting this huge rally on Friday, which, Tim, if you remember, I think it was Friday morning. I think I said, or Thursday night, I said, I hope we don't gap up too much. I'd rather not gap up as much.
Actually held the gap better than I thought. Banks started coming down, and I think that was one of the things, we had those JPM suicides. We had JPM monthlies, but a lot of people had the JPM suicides that they sold it right off the bat that morning. Thankfully, we sold our JPMs. I hesitated a little too long that day, and we sold ours. I think we lost 6 cents a contract. So we lost $6 a contract, which for us meant $12.
I sold my own JPM Friday morning. So I had JPM in my own account, which I sold Friday morning with everyone else. Made a nice little penny on it, or a nice little profit. That was nice. I'm still keeping an eye on financials. I think financials. Let's look at XLF financials. Even though, I know that people are saying stay away from them. I think we might get, we could, with ERs especially coming up, we might get a slight little bump. Maybe not a long-term trade, but a really, really short intraday trade or a couple or overnight swing type of situation. We might be able to see some of that. But I'm sorry, I digressed. Going back to my original point, I know that Friday did not end the way that people wanted it to end. We saw a lot of selling going into that close, which I'm going to give or say that a lot of that has to do with end of quarter. I don't mind it. Granted, I think Monday will give me a better direction, but I was kind of okay with what happened Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it scares me that it scares more people, I guess. It did bug me. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping it would stay, but that doesn't mean I'm bearish going into next week by any means because the quarter starts over. So, I like just for the bulls always to close positive. It's just a good feeling. Everybody's happy, but hey, it is what it is. And Monday the market will open, and I agree with you. We should start getting some better direction. Problem we have this week is I believe the tariff stuff is supposed to start on Friday.
Yeah.
So this is on a normal week. This is historically bullish. On a Trump week, and no, I'm not bashing the president because I support any president, whether I vote for him or not, whether they're in the party I'm in or not. I support whoever is in that seat at all times, 24/7. So historically, this is a good week. I don't know if this is historically going to be a good Trump week. We'll see. We'll see, because again, I don't, the tariffs and stuff and the trade wars, some of that's a little above my head. Some of it I've caught up on, but I hope it tones down. I'll say that. We'll see.
And I agree with you. I agree with you there, guys. I'm not panicking. I'm going to take the same approach that we've used since February. If I want to swing something, it will be extremely small. It will be very, very careful, and I will continue to scalp day in and day out. That's what I plan on doing.
Well, in our account, which, the people that trade with us all the time, the one that we started January 2nd with 10 grand. Now, this is just like a side project. This isn't when she's talking about she owns MU and this, that, and the other. That's her account. When I talk about some of the things, that could be my account. We have a joint account that we started with 10. I think it hit 65 or 6 Friday. And most of that's on down days. Scalping the cues, because when we're swinging, sometimes one contract, sometimes two, sometimes more. It could be 4 or 5 contracts. We don't swing anything real big, especially since February, because we keep saying this over and over. You're one tweet away. And plus, we believe in having 80% cash at all times. If we're 20% of that account invested and we have some crazy news hit Monday and we completely got wiped out of that because we trade options and they just, deteriorated on us. We can recover 20%. Again, that started with 10,000, hit 66. We can recover 20% at any given time. She'd probably just short the cues and not even know we had a loss. But if you're 50% invested or higher, then you're having to start over or start with less. That's not what we want to do. We like that 20% rule, that we can sleep good at night. only being 20% invested or less. Sometimes we don't have anything invested overnight. That's rare. Usually we have a couple somethings, but it can vary from 5 to 20%. If we ever decide, hey, let's go swing a couple Amazons real quick, she'll go do math and say, hey, that puts us over the 20%. We may want to cut something. So then at that point, we have to make different decisions. So
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
So we cash is a position. Maria says it every day in the room.
I say it all the time. I know there's been a lot of talk lately amongst lots of different traders, lots of different rooms, and the main common theme that I see, amongst the people that I turn to when I am unsure or when I need my head checked, primarily Tim. There's several other really, really good traders out there that I trust, and the common theme is play it small, and make sure you check your expectations, your own expectations. Not every play is going to be 100% play. If you get 10% on a
Absolutely.
play, that's still 10% that you did not have. The other thing is that it's not your profit until you hit sell. So I've noticed that a lot of traders have been having a really hard time with that. They're like, well, I'm only up 10%. Who cares? The chart's turning against you. Take your 10% and get out.
Right.
It's still
We
10%.
believe in letting a trade develop as long as that chart's in your favor. But, we had a guy that had a red trade. He was up 30, 40% the other day and ended up red on him. And I had to kind of talk to him in the room. And I'm like, listen, that's the worst thing you can do is have that green trade go red on you, especially when you're up 30, 40%. Sometimes we're up less than that. We can be up $5, but if we start to see certain things turn that we don't like or the chart starts to change, I'll sell that. It doesn't matter if it's 10% or less. Things change in the market. Sometimes I have to adjust to those things and I get out and talk about, anyway, skip that, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, pay attention to your charts. Tim gets asked all the time, how did you know to sell there? Why did you sell that there when it looked like it was just going to keep going and going? And Tim nailed it on the head. Like when we're in a trade, we're watching the indices, we're watching some of the internals, we're watching what the other tickers within the sector are doing. If I'm long Amazon and I see 5 other tech tickers start to turn, if Amazon's on a green ticker or green candle, and it looks like it looks like it can't get above, it's just kind of sitting there, I'm out. I'll take my green and try it again. Do it again. If I see that tech across the board is starting to pull back and Amazon's sitting at a spot where, okay, this could really be some resistance, I'm going to take my green. So guys, take your profits always. Don't let those red trades or those green trades turn red. Play it small and be patient. Be patient.
Absolutely. Guys and gals, like, share. If you ever want a free trial, come hang out with us. We give you one for a week. We didn't run free trials last week. We're not doing them this week because it's a short week, but we'll probably do some pretty soon. So hit us up. We give anybody a free trial. We're not for everybody. We are for most people. Heck, I turned the thing on and just let the whole world come in free one day last week. And I think we had 6 people sign up that morning, just, that were in there and like, oh my God, this is so cool. But, we had some people go, wow, that's a lot of information. I don't get it. So we're not for everybody. Come check it out. Take a trial, like, share.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Definitely. Just like Tim said, if you would like a trial, please go ahead and put those in the comments under the video or hit us up on StockTwits or YouTube and we will get you into the next trial. If you have not done so already, please go ahead, like and share this video and our channel. Have a great evening. We hope that everyone does really, really well this week and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.